Hello, I'm ShieldWall100 and welcome back to the Gotham City docks for another Batman Miniatures game battle report. It's another special one today as I am joined by Ben for a multiplayer game. Hurrah! No more of this solo player rubbish. And we're going to be seeing the Batman crew, controlled by Ben, take on my Bane crew, the Soldiers of Fortune. Okay, let's get on and see who's in which of the two crews. Right, we're going for a small but potent, hopefully, crew for the Soldiers of Fortune today. As you can see, it's big Rebirth Bane being taken out again. I really like the model and I really like the way he interacts with his crew. Yep, hopped up on Venom and good to go. The only thing, he's got his Venom applicator, so in case he wants to use his Venom doses on friendly models in base contact, he can. And his I will break you rule, he's going for close combat master. So he will absolutely, positively, definitely knock out anyone he's aiming at. That's the plan, okay? Also in the crew, as you can see, we've got the usually present Infiltrate Op. Love the way she interacts with the game board, and her model's awesome too. She's got her backpack with her as well for that extra reveal action. As you can see, the Sidekick slot is filled by Bird for his just general crew buffing abilities. And yes, his ability to give military tradition to Killer Moth, who's the next one along, one of the generic henchmen, who's now got veteran thanks to Bird. And yes, we like Killer Moth a lot, and any excuse to get Mr. Tights out once again. His radio and his backclaw add some much needed mobility to this small crew. And finally, Stealth Operative. Yes, we taken because he had the right number of points to fit in to the rest of the crew. When and yeah, I don't get enough use out of him. Apparently he's one of the better henchmen to take, so let's find out. His double blood katana, hopefully do the job, can be benefited by the Venom dose and the grapple gun I've given him as well out of purchasable funding. But it's a small 5-man crew, and yeah, but we'll see how that fits in today, okay? And I'm going to show you what's in the Batman crew now.
Hi, so here's my Batman crew today. Like Lee's, it's equally small, hopefully pack a good punch. Leading it is the Rebirth Batman. Nice big heavy hitting Batman, lots of stealth and tricks. He's running an upgraded batsuit, and he is running the Watchtower upgrade from Oracle. My sidekick today, so she's going to be hopefully moving around and moving a lot of objectives around and playing that side of things. And then keeping the Rebirth theme going, the Red Hood. Coming out today, a nice bruiser, hopefully someone who can double team Bane and bring him down before he can do too much damage to the more squishy elements of the crew, which we're running today. Harvey Bullock out the back here, he's running a radio. He will just do what he does, as will the Gotham City detective, also running a radio.
Right, we have now deployed our crews, set up the street furniture and whatnot. Let's just quickly show you where everyone is. It's quite simple. Bane is sitting pretty in the middle there with his two friends Killer Moth and Bird. Okay, having moved up a little bit, we've got the Stealth Operative. He's got undercover, lets him jet forward a little bit before deployment. And Claire, the Infiltrate Op, Claire is in the middle using her hidden role. So just so I can show you, we drew Chance Encounter for the deployment zones. It's a very relatively simple, it leaves us a very simple deployment zone as well. Happy with that. For the Batman crew's part, I'll just show you these quickly. We have the GCPD detective over here using his hidden ability, don't forget, so he could have deployed anyone on the board, but I think he's keeping him away from Bane, which is wise. Batman himself is on top of the crate, as you can see at the back. He's master of stealth, so he's quite comfortable being anywhere. Red Hood sneakily around the back of said crate as well. And yes, there's Oracle too. Don't forget, she is not a physical presence on the board, so she'll just be able to move around with impunity once gaming gets underway, so she's fine. And finally, if you can see there, Harvey Bullock is having a sneaky coffee and donut around the back here. He may be called upon to do some work tonight. We'll find out in just a moment. Right, that's deployment. We're now going to move to turn 1, get to the take the lead and raise the plan phases there, and report back once they're done. Okay, see you in a second. Right, so first 2 phases of the first turn are now done. Let's take the lead and raise the plan respectively. Benefited from Bane's mastermind skill. I got the initiative this turn. Hurrah, hurrah for me. And so I'll be going first. Okay. In terms of cards played, none were played in the take the lead phase, but however in the raise the plan phase, second, unveiling the truth was played by Ben for on Harvey Bullock is the guy. There's the text. Harvey Bullock was the chosen model. He has to pick up suspects to get this card going, but it will stay in play as long as it needs for him to score it, or until I off him. So there you go. In terms of who got Audacity for the Batman crew, it was Batman, of course. Be silly not to. Red Hood there, poking around behind that crate. Oracle, and finally, of course, Harvey himself. GCPD detective left without this time. For my part, I've gone with Infiltrator, the Stealth Operative, Killer Moth, and Big Bane here. Unfortunately for me, World's Greatest Detective kicked in for Batman, and he is forcing Stealth Operative to go first for my activations this turn. And on that subject, we'll get on with that right now. Okay, on to activations. And off with a bang. A slice at least. Unfortunately for Harvey Bullock, Stealth Operative had to go first, like I just said. He activated with his grapple gun and took his venom dose, and unfortunately he caught Harvey Bullock mid-bite of donut. And having taken the venom dose, as you can see, he only needed to put 1 effort in to get his maximum effort limit. Harvey desperately tried to put in his maximum effort there, but it just was not to be. Even though the strength die roll fluffed it twice for the katana wielding semi-ninja, the 3 hits were just, they were not blocked at all. And yes, here is the unfortunate defense dice roll for Harvey. He really was caught with his trousers down, and that is sufficient to kill him. He has 6 points of endurance and 6 points of damage just done. So pretty horrible first activation there for the Batman crew. For my part, I was able to play Search and Destroy from my hand as an objective card for 2 points, because Harvey just took 2 damage and I made 2 efforts. So there you go, 2 instant points for me, gets the scoring off to a start. And we're going to go to the Batman crew now, see what they can do in retaliation.
So it was over to Batman to activate, and we went straight with Red Hood, who darted straight over to take on the Stealth Operative. Both put maximum effort in, and although Red Hood managed to hit with all of his attacks, it was a very solid defense roll from the Stealth Operative, meaning that he didn't die. So he did get knocked down because of the brutal trait for Red Hood, causing the critical hit on 5. So hopefully we can take him out before he has a chance to retaliate.
Coming in for the second activation on the Soldiers of Fortune side, we have Bird. He didn't have Audacity, if you recall, from the beginning of the turn, so his options were limited. He was inspired by Bane's nearby presence though, so he moved up out of his deployment zone and popped down a suspect marker. No cards played in this activation, unfortunately, so back to the Batman crew.
So very quick activation for Batman. Oracle jumped out from her hiding place behind the crate, dropped a suspect marker, and then used her hacking ability to relocate 2 of the lampposts so that they move away from my models, hopefully hiding from them.
Killer Moth making his debut for the Soldiers of Fortune today, and yes, he was activated from back here where his Audacity marker is. Let's get rid of that now. He was inspired, even if he didn't have his radio, and he had an Audacity marker, as you just saw, so he activated his grapple gun, his wings, I guess is what they represent, and jetted up here and used and popped down a suspect marker too. That's about as much as he could do. However, from the hand, Free for All was played as an objective card for 2 victory points. At the end of the turn, I need to have more models in the middle of the board than Ben does, okay? But we'll see how that pans out in the end phase, okay? And that's him done. Right, moving back to Batman.
So back with the Batman crew, and the GCPD detective moved up, but not before dropping down a suspect marker, using detective to place it just towards the board edge. The suspect marker itself was actually a snitch, so I will score that at the end of the turn for 3 points if no enemy models are within 4 inches of the snitch marker.
Yeah, chance to be a fine thing. Bane up next, yes, and stomping forwards with his movement of 8 inches. Bit slow, but he'll get there, hopefully, maybe one day. And pop down a suspect marker with for the reasons because he could. So that's him pretty much done. He didn't take Venom this turn. He's gambling on not needing one of his 3 doses right now. So yeah. The next turn definitely though, yeah. He did, however, play Cyber Attack from the hand as an objective. Plays now, it will score as and when the countdown on it reduces to 0. So for 2 points, there's a countdown on this suspect here and on the snitch that was just played. If both of these remain in play once the countdown reaches 0, countdown will reduce by 1 at the end of each subsequent model's activation, then I'll score the lovely 2 points. So challenging Ben to remove his own suspects, basically, to prevent scores on my part. I doubt he'll do that because he's getting 3 points from one of those, but hey, 2 points is nice. Right, gonna go back to the Batman crew now to finish off their activations, I think.
So back with the Dark Knight, he just stepped forward a little bit, jumped off of the crate onto the box and threw some batlings at the stealth operative, just knocking him out, hit him with everything. The batlings just knocking him out so that he doesn't have a chance to activate, and hopefully he'll stay down the rest of the game. Unfortunately, nothing else scored for the Batman crew at this time.
Claire, the Infiltrator, finishing off this turn's activations for both sides. She nipped around with her Audacity marker there, just to this side of the crate, and she didn't put down a suspect marker of her own, despite me thinking I should do. Instead, I actually played Global Offensive from my hand as an objective for 3 lovely points. It will score at the end of the turn, which is coming up, if I have more friendly models with the veteran trait in play than there are enemy suspects, and there's very little Ben can do about that because this is the last activation of the turn and I've got 5 veterans in play. Even the guy who is unconscious counts because it's still technically in the playing area. It would say if knocked out ones don't, I believe, because it does on other cards. Right, she then used her hacking ability to hack Oracle's suspect marker a little bit further away from where it needs to be, I hope, and that concluded her activation. Okay, that's all the models done for turn 1. We're going to move to the recount phase now and tell you what's what.
Okay, so back at the end of turn 1's recount phase, so Batman will score the snitch, which was there, so that one's nice and sorted, and then we've got 2 scored for the Soldiers of Fortune, Global Offensive for 3 points, and Free for All for 2 points. So those will both score, and then Batman with his tracking just sort of jumped off the box, moving a little bit more laterally to try and decide where he wants to go next turn. And then we'll be back with turn 2.
Before that, and also Stealthop failed to recover from chaos,
Yep.
so I'm down a model 2.
Lovely.
Okay. Right, second turn, first 2 phases now complete. So in the take the lead phase, well, the Batman crew have the initiative this turn. That's the first thing to relate, with a mighty roll of a 5 on the initiative roll. And right, 2 cards played by the Soldiers of Fortune crew for me. First of all, Moth Signal for Killer Moth's signature card. It's for 3 points, and they have chosen this lovely crate here to be the specific piece of scenery to go with it. Okay, I need at the end of the turn to have at least 1 friendly suspect and at least 1 friendly model within 4 inches of that to score the lovely 3 points. The other card I played was Domination. We see this a lot with the Soldiers of Fortune crew, another 3-pointer, so it's pretty mighty again. The Domination marker's over here, and whoever is within whoever's crew has more models within 4 inches of it at the end of the turn will be the one to, well, if I get it, I get 3 points. If Ben manages to stop me, then he just stops me from scoring, so it can commit him to parts of the board he doesn't want to be in. I don't believe any cards were played in either phase by the Batman crew, and that's it for cards scored. So we'll just go to raise the plan, wherein every model which was still conscious has audacity now. Both crews reduced to 4 active models. Nice. There was some scheming going on from Oracle, trying to get as many suspect markers away from the moth signal as possible. Don't blame him. And Batman did try to do World's Greatest Detective on Killer Moth to force him to go first, but failed. Haha, Killer Moth is way too canny for that much. Right, we're going to go to activations now for turn 2, and Batman to go first, sorry. Okay, the gameplay is actually staying with me because Ben opted to pass for his first activation, wanted to find out where I'm going, maybe what I'm doing. Right, so first of all, I went with Bird again. He's a good model to activate. And right, first of all, he moved up into the central dominating area of the board. He popped down a suspect marker. He then played from the hand Reinforce as a resource for 1. Friendly models with the veteran trait within 4 inches of him would have got 2 extra defense tokens, which would have been himself, Killer Moth, and Bane, who snuck a bit further around the corner in the meantime. But this was cancelled out as Ben played Get Them Off the Streets as a resource for 2, which basically, cancels it out nice and neatly. So yes, no extra defense tokens for my models. Boo! Right, so moving back, he did his special action Military Tradition, which lets nearby veterans move 2 inches. Killer Moth sidled along, and Bane stomped a little bit further up the pitch. Okay, so that's him done. That's Bird's activation over and done with. We're going to move back to Batman, who maybe will pass again, maybe will not. We'll find out in just a second. And of course, there was something I forgot as a result of that, all the excitement with Bird just there. Cyber Attack has scored for me because the 2 counters on the suspect markers here has reached 0, and they're both still, and either of them is still on the board, so 2 points. Okay, just thought I'd get that in. Now we're moving to the Batman crew.
So back with the Batman crew, and with Bane stomping round the corner, we discovered that he could reach Red Hood if he had activated before he had a chance to do so. So Red Hood, seeing his opportunity to run away, opened fire with his one-shot gun to start off with, rolling a massive crit for it, blowing a hole in Bane's chest. Following up, he ran straight up to him with the opportunity and just drove his katana straight through Bane, turning him into mincemeat. Although I don't score any points for it whatsoever, Bane is dead. Just straight up dead.
Dead. Ow, ow, ow. My crew is hurting, but we need to keep scoring those points because points is points. Right, we're going with Infiltrate up next. Okay, she started over here. She put down a suspect marker with her radio-based Inspire. Bird now being the new boss of my crew, so still inspiring, still possible for them. Right, so she did that. She then hacked this suspect marker from a little bit over here to a bit over here. Nice and simple. And there's another suspect marker that's just sidled back 4 inches. Don't forget the moth signal is still needing suspect markers nearby in order to trigger for the end of the turn. So let's just want to try and make it as impossible as possible for Batman to stop me. Ha! We'll see how that goes. Right, so the next thing she did was to move over to here, as you can see, and she used her light assault carbine with her tactical action to cause 3 points of blood damage on GCPD Detective. That should hopefully prick his conscience, and it stops his effort, drops his effort limit a little bit, and that's concluded her turn. A pretty full activation. Having done the suspect marker over here, I just forgot that was within 8 inches of Oracle, and it was sufficiently out of line of sight for her to play Black Ops at the beginning of the turn for 2 lovely victory points. There's the text. There you go, and 2 victory points for me as well. So a nice full turn for Infiltrate Up. Who knows, she may be the last model in my crew still standing come the end of the game. Let's hope.
So coming back with the Batman crew, and it was the GCPD Detective who activated from his position up here. So he started off by whistling at the stealth operative, Infiltrate operative, and then blasting her with his automatic gun at point blank range, doing some seriously damage to her. He then dropped a suspect marker up here with his detective trait before then running straight back down this way. We are playing wait for backup on the objective cards there. So if he is within 4 inches of this board edge down the side here, in 3 activations time, he will score that card for me. So with nothing else going on, it's back to Bane.
Drury Walker, aka Killer Moth, activated last for me this turn, since I'm suddenly a little short on figures. He activated from over here, he walked, he popped down this suspect marker, and you can see it's got a number counter on it. That's because he played Invasion quickly afterwards for 2 points. A lot of text there. Basically, once this marker reaches 0 after each individual model's activation after this, I'll score the 2 points. So Batman has to find a way to remove this suspect marker to deny me those lovely points. Okay, right, that concludes my activations for this round, because I'm suddenly baneless, and we'll be moving back to Batman.
So Oracle activated first of the last 2 models for the Batman crew. Using her ability to hack markers, she moved these 2 away from the centre of the game board before moving her distance up this way and revealing the suspect marker that was there, which scored her comb through everything for 2 points, which gets me some extra cards back in my deck, some chance to cycle, so hopefully I can start scoring some points next turn. Okay, so back with the Batman's last activation, and the Dark Knight himself leaped up the board with his Batclaw from back here, revealing the suspect marker to deny the Moth his invasion card. Thank you. But while doing so, I also managed to pick up comb through everything for another 2 points by revealing an enemy suspect marker and allowing me to cycle the deck a little bit. And the timer's also ticked down on wait for backup, so that's going to score as well. So some points on the board at last for Batman as we end turn 2.
Turn 2's recount phase underway and done, actually, sorry. Right, so unfortunately, Stealth Operative over here is still seeing tweeting birds instead of getting back into action. So he'll not be joining us for turn 3. We've got some scores though. The Moth signal does score for the Soldiers of Fortune, because I still have Bird and a suspect marker within 4 inches of this crate here, so lovely 3 points for me. Domination does score for me because I have most models within 4 inches of that thing there, so lovely 3 points for me there as well. And for Ben's part, Secure the Perimeter came out for 2 points. Remove 2 friendly suspect markers in 2 inches of the board edge, and there you see the lack of suspect markers for the Batman crew now, so that's where they went. 2 points there. Nice. I think that's it. Oh, apart from Batman using his tracking ability, or sneaking, or tracking, whatever, to just edge around the a bit further up the pitch, still in base contact and a nice punching range of Killer Moth. Ugh. Right, we're now going to move on to turn number 3, and yeah, it's going to be a struggle for points now, I'm sure.
So back after Raise the Plan for the 3rd turn, the initiative went to the Bane crew, or what's left of them. The Bane crew did play Domination in this phase, and they put the marker just around here in contact with Oracle, so if the Bane crew have more models within 4 inches of it, they will score that at the end of the turn. I drew 2 copies of Unveiling the Truth. One went on Oracle and one went on Red Hood, so if at any point I have the enemy have less than 2 suspect markers on the field, I will score both of those cards, although I am fast running out of models that can remove them. So we'll be back with the first activation.
Killer Moth, realising the predicament he was in standing next to Batman, decided he would be going first. He activated his grapple gun again to give himself that little bit extra movement and jetted over here, just next to the domination marker really. There's nothing else he can really do, unfortunately. Unfortunately my hand of cards has not really come up for me this particular time, but hey, you never know, maybe in the future, and I just wanted to get him out of Dodge City, so there we are. Okay, moving back to Batman.
So it was the Red Hood that went, and he went straight into Bird, attacking with his crowbar. Bird chose not to make any effort rolls, deciding instead to rely on his defence and hoping that the Red Hood fluffs it, which he didn't, causing the maximum amount of damage with his crowbar, and in doing so scored himself seeking vengeance for 3 points by inflicting at least 3 hits with his stun damage. So that's the Red Hood done, and another boss sleeping with the fishes.
So I'm rapidly running out of options here, but thankfully Infiltrate Op comes with a bunch of her own. I moved her up. Don't forget her movement was severely impaired from being whistled at last time. Catcalling is a crime, ladies and gentlemen. She moved up. She then hacked the domination marker over nearer to her. She popped down a suspect marker and moved it a little bit further up with that hacking, sorry, I forgot to say. Actually, having put down the suspect marker, the Black Ops card was played once again for 2 points. There we are, because both her and the suspect marker she's played are out of sight of Oracle. So because she's got Master of Stealth, she only has to be 6 inches away to count that. That's nice. So yeah, 2 points in the bag for me. And then finally, with her last tactical action, because the suspect marker was placed with her radio, the tactical action, she was able to shoot and finish off the GCPD detective. Yes, so there you go. It's okay. Sorry, just a cat encroaching on the board again, but I have to tell Ben it's fine.
One of Catwoman's
he's a monkey.
Spies, obviously.
It's fine. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's that. Finished off a model. Hurrah! A little bit of vengeance for me and a point for the bag. Okay, right. Moving back to Batman, and we'll see what he can get up to.
So back with Oracle on the Batman team. She skipped away around the building, and then she managed to manipulate down to put a suspect marker, and then hacking away, she's moved both of these suspect markers to be close to the table. The suspect marker she placed was also a snitch, so hopefully we can get some points for that, and then we'll just be back with Batman. Just coming back with Batman at the end of my turn here. He just moved up round the corner and hurled some batlings at the Killer Moth, who's hiding just down here. Managed to hit with 2 for 4 stun, not quite knocking him out. And that will be where their turn finishes, and we will come back with turn 4.
Well, first it's turn 3's recount phase, and a little bit to, recount to you. And first of all, for scores, well, I was able to do nothing about the snitch hiding behind that warehouse, so 3 points for the Batman crew just there. Lovely jubbly. He's getting replaced by a normal suspect now. Ground War was played from the hand by myself for 3 points. I have at least 2 friendly models which aren't KO'd, although almost. Looking at you, Killer Moth, within 4 inches of the same scenery element that's within 8 inches in the opponent's deployment zone. So yes, that definitely qualifies. I got that one. I also scored domination because I am within 4 inches of it. So there you go, another 3 points for me. Whew. It's still though I'm still lacking on the board though, but not so much now actually, because also Stealth Operative managed to come around. It's amazing how he became conscious just as all the dangerous enemy models decided to leave where he was. Bird wisely elected to remain unconscious as Red Hood towers over him. Okay, I think that recounts everything for the end of this turn. We're now going to move to the last turn and see who can squeeze those points out to see if we can get a rally from the Batman crew, who is in ascendancy with forces on the board. Right, the last turn is underway. First 2 phases done. I won initiative, so the Soldiers of Fortune will be going first again. I've been quite lucky in that regard today. Right, we've got Audacity on every single model that's actually under control. Hooray, hooray. No cards played in either phase, both sides having sort of run out of those ones, so there we go. Oracle managed to scheme a whole bunch of suspect markers around the board, and the Dark Knight himself tried to force Infiltrate Op to have to go first, but she managed to pass her willpower check despite being reduced to 2 dice. So that's that. We're going to finish that off and finish off the game now, and see who can score cards in the last activations. Okay, on to the activation phase. Killer Moth activated first for me. I moved him around the corner, used the resource of Hardpoint here, just show it very quickly, to pick up the suspect marker that was in contact with Oracle to give himself a venom dose. I cycled the deck, unfortunately did not pick up anything more useful to use. I was desperately hoping I would, and he can't put down a suspect marker because he's too nearby another one. So that concludes Killer Moth's activations for this game. Back to Batman.
Okay, so back with the Dark Knight's activation himself, leaping over the crate that he was hiding behind and just beat Killer Moth black and blue, knocking him clearly out and scoring back to Arkham for 3 points for making the enemy boss a KO. Simple, effective, brutal. It's the Batman.
The newly woken stealth operative activated and had a plan in mind. He got up, he popped down a suspect marker here, and then played Invasion from the hand for 2 points. It's the one with the counter has to reach down to 0. The piece of terrain with these crates, which were within 4 inches of Red Hood. Unfortunately for me, I rolled a 4 for the countdown, and there are insufficient models left to go for that to make any difference. Boo! Was hoping for a much lower number, really. But that would have done the trick. Oh well, never mind. We're going to move back to the Batman crew, see if he can get any more points.
So a little bit of a sneaky play from Oracle here. She moved up and grabbed 2 enemy suspect markers, hacked them nearer to her, manipulated to remove 1, and then used the They Won't See Me Coming as a resource to gain an additional manipulate, which will then get me 4 points onto and start scoring Unveiling the Truth. Hopefully I'll be able to get enough off to win that one.
My last model's activation for the game is Infiltrate Op, Loyal to the End. Just as an aside, Oracle actually, as part of the manipulates to pick up cards, forgot to mention before, Comb Through Everything was also played when she picked it up, picked up one of those suspect markers for 2 points for the Batman crew. They really are turning the screw on me now. But back to Infiltrate Op, she moved up, she popped down another suspect marker and played Invasion again, because this warehouse is within 4 inches of multiple Batman crew models, and unfortunately for me I rolled a 5 for the countdown, which again cannot be satisfied in the remaining time of the game, but worth a try. If I'd rolled a 1 there would be very little he could do about it, but never mind. Okay, back to Batman. I think it's Red Hood for the last activation of the game.
So we finish up with the Red Hood, who just darted over here and dropped a suspect marker, which just so happened to be a snitch right at the end of the game there. Just dropped that down for 3 points. Sneaky. And that's all we could do. Nothing there. And that's the end of the game. We'll come back with recount phase and final scores. Right, yeah, we're back with the recount phase of the final game. Just the last bits of scoring. Batman managed to secure the perimeter with those 2 suspect markers there on the board edge, and the snitch will score as well because there's no enemies within 4 of it. The 2 invasions that were drawn by Bane earlier in the turn just couldn't tick down far enough. The crews were just too battered and bruised by this point for them to score, and that's it. So we'll just do the final scores then.
Okay, we're both holding our own score piles. We'll be working out who scored the most. I'll start with mine quickly since I'm here. Right, so 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 14, 17, 19, 22, 25 points.
Ooh, solid.
Not bad. Had better, had worse. Lots worse.
The Batman crew.
Yep.
3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20, 23, 25.
My God, I didn't expect that. Wow.
A genuine draw.
Yeah, and after that rocky start you got off to as well, that was
losing Bullock at the start there.
Yeah, he was. I know he was factored into a lot of point scoring because of his detective ability and his ability to order and all that, and arrest and everything.
I lost an arrest. Lost the ability to put down tokens, remove them, order people about. It was definitely a big piece to lose right at the start of the game before we could even do anything.
But speaking of big pieces to lose, I really messed up big time with Bane. I just forgot that Red Hood had the one-shot gun, let alone that he'd be able to use it on me. Let alone that there was
the fact that he would just roll a 6 and just blast a hole in your chest.
He's got brutal, so 5 or 6 would do critical. So yeah, that's brutal indeed. But yeah, what a great game. Yeah, I definitely felt I had the ascendancy early on with all those lucky draws I got and dominations and things. But you can never underestimate the scoring chances of the Batman crew, even when reduced in models. And they've got something in the bag usually that can come out.
Just a slightly different set of cards there, and I could have scored a few extra points in that last turn with what I had in my hand. It just didn't quite play out.
No, but likewise, I remember. I think I drew invasion. I think I drew hardpoint like 8 times altogether in that game, trying to get rid of it and cycling it out of my my deck when as resources but just didn't say on the recording because it would have been boring. But yeah, that card just really wanted to be played today, but it was not to be.
I had the same with Unveiling the Truth, which is probably one of the hardest to score there.
In some circumstances, yeah, if you're playing against someone who puts down a lot of suspect markers when he can, which I had to. So
and as well, I can only have one in the field at once, which meant I had to try and cycle my deck to get rid of the others that just kept coming up. It didn't matter how much I cycled or shuffled my deck; they just kept coming out.
That's it. Sometimes it do be like that. But yeah, there you go. 25 all draw. That was not expected, but I think you at least deserved that, considering the way that your crew kept battling on after an early setback.
Bane going down, you still fought on, even with just those 2-3 models left.
Yeah. Well, with Infiltrate Op, you've always got options, multiple actions.
She's quite a tasty henchman.
She's great. I don't think I'd ever be without her. She has too many options to an otherwise too static crew.
So many manipulates, a gun. She can't be shot.
She's good.
Defense 5.
Right, yeah. So there you go, everyone. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this one. That was a draw. I didn't call that at all. Right, my name's Shieldwall100. I hope you enjoyed this game. Thank you very much to Ben for coming round. Hopefully see him again in the future. And there'll be more games coming up on the channel as well. Right, I'm going to shoot off now. And everyone take care of yourselves, all right? Good day.